And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game from Queen called Skylands, which is definitely not about Avatar with these floating rocks and these people that are colored green skin. Not blue skin, that's green skin. So, yes, in this game, you are going to be building your own kingdom of floating islands. You are going to be gathering crystals that are called they're called, I don't know, they're just crystals, and try to score points in various ways by taking actions that everyone gets to take. Here is how it plays. Each player is going to have their own player board that starts with a couple islands already on it, although you can play with a blank one, and then you can have some starting islands that you'll place on these spots, and you'll have different islands than everybody else. Or you can just take this one here. You also have your own worker, guy that you're going to be sending out to do different actions. On a player's turn, they're going to pick which action they're going to take. You cannot take the same action you have already taken, and you can go to a spot where someone else already is. You can take the same action that you're on once per game. You have this tile, just flip it over to show that you've done that, but you'll get 2 points at the end of the game if you do not do that. So what do the different actions do? Well, this action here is going to allow you to draw tiles. You'll draw tiles equal to the number of players plus 1, and then you get to pick one. So maybe I'll take this one here and I'll add it to my board. You're trying to finish islands. You can see here that this blue island here will never be finished, but I have finished a complete yellow island. But you do have to match side to side, so I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. You know, pink has to go with pink, blue with blue, green with green, yellow with yellow, and sky with sky. Once everyone has picked a tile, and you go around the table, then the person who picked the action may take the last tile if they so desire. Each action, when you take it, everyone's going to do that action, but you have the opportunity to take an extra action if you want. So as the game goes by, you are slowly going to be building up and, you know, making these cool islands on the board here. Another action you can do is take people. You can pick one of your islands and completely fill it up. Even if it's partially full, you can finish filling it with people who match that color, green, blue, or pink. The person who picks the action can do it with 2 of the islands on the board. Another action you can do is you can buy special tiles. At the beginning of the game, there's going to be a certain number of special tiles that are placed over here. These tiles are tiles that you will be putting on your board, so they still need to match on the sides, and they also have a cost on them. So you can see, for example, this one here costs 3 green and 1 other one. This costs a green, 2 purples, and 1 of any color. And so players have to return those from their islands and then take the tile. And the person who goes first, the person who picked the action, does not have to pay the extra white one, the wild one. And then once you take these, some of them, like this one here, for example, gives you 2 victory points right away. Some give you an immediate benefit. Some are just going to be worth points at the end of the game, if you have them. Some give you a special ability. This says when you take this action, you get an extra victory point. When you build special tiles, you pay 1 less purple. And some of them are end of game scoring, like the ones there at the top. The last action that players can pick on their turn is basically mining. And so when this happens, if you have a completely full blue island, you can take the people from that blue island and put them on one of your empty yellow islands. You will then score 1 point for each of those and then return them to the supply. The person who picks the action can take people from 1 blue island and move them to 2 yellow islands, or move people from 2 blue islands to 1 yellow island. And that's one of the main ways to get points. There's going to be a pile of points here. When this pile is depleted, the game is going to end. If you run out of tiles and you can't put them out, then the game ends. Or if someone completely fills their board, the game will end. When the game ends, each empty space on your board is going to lose you 2 points. Every 2 people you have on your board is worth 1 point. Every space on a completed island, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, is worth a point. And then your special islands will score you points, as well as the points that you've gotten throughout the game. Plus, if you didn't use this tile, it's worth 2 points. Most points is the winner. So as you can see, the boards look really flashy and nice when you are filled them up. I mean, this is a really cool look to it. These pieces are okay, although you'll notice that I called these mountains pink and then the pieces are purple. That's minor. I don't really care about that. In the middle, these pieces here are just a big puzzle piece as you build the board. And then you have your own color pieces. And then the victory points. The components for this game are okay, except the tiles. I really think the tiles are gorgeous. It has a really good look to it for sure. I don't feel like a game has to be unique, right? Not every game has to have something in it that other games don't have. Which is good for Skylands in a sense because there's nothing new here. Placing tiles and building cities, that's Carcassonne. Taking an action and everyone else gets to do it, we've seen that in games before. Here's the problem with Skylands, is it takes a bunch of mechanisms from other games, but doesn't improve them and in fact makes them worse. For example, the building the city. Now you saw that beautiful city there I showed you. Yeah, that will never happen over the course of a game to get one that nice looking. Why? Because you'll end up needing a piece. I need a green on this side, a pink on this side, and that piece will likely never show up. There's so many combinations that it's very possible that you will build yourself and suddenly realize you can't finish these. It would be nice if there was a sheet that showed you all the different combinations of tiles. Actually, that might be in the rules itself. Yeah, it does show you all the different tiles. But to study that and go through that, yeah, that would be problematic. And so that part of the game, which is really the main function of this game, is building these tiles, is not that interesting. You draw some and then hope that the one you need is amongst the ones that you've drawn. Then transferring the purple people or the blue people from the one to the other, that's just not that interesting. Fill up this island, transfer them. Fill up these guys, buy special tiles of the purples and greens. The whole game feels like half a game. There's some interesting ideas. Those special tiles are neat, but you need to make sure that you even have room to put that special tile. So not only are you saving up the pink, the purples and the greens dudes to buy these tiles, you also need to make sure that you can fit that tile somewhere on your board. And not having stuff touching the outside complete is very unsatisfying. I don't know why they couldn't put some border around the outside, but there are so many cities that are going to be incomplete because they touch the outside, again, because of the random tile draw. Skylands is unfortunately extremely forgettable. I probably won't even, in a year from now when I come back to it, I'll remember the Avatar part of it, but I'm going to have to look at it and say, what was that game about again? Oh yeah, it was that Carcassonne wannabe. And that sounds mean to say things like that because I'm sure it wasn't designed that way. But that's the way it's going to come across. When I saw the take an action, everyone gets it, but you get a bonus, I was like, oh man, fantastic. I love this. Puerto Rico style. You know, I got to take an action, but there's only 4 actions. One of them you likely can't do many times, like to buy a new tile. I don't have enough purples and greens to do it. Okay, so you're going to pick tiles, and everyone likes that action. That's a great action because you get 1 tile first out of the tiles that are drawn and possibly 2 of them. Fill up your islands. Well, if the person before you just filled up all the islands, and you filled up like one of your islands, taking that action is not worth as much to you. And transferring blue to yellow only works if you have that ready to go. So there are many turns in this game where it comes time for you to take an action and you go, oh, I don't really care what action I take. None of them are really that good for me. That's unfortunate. I think a game and the actions you take should always be fun and intriguing. So I'm going to recommend giving Skylands a pass. It doesn't do anything breathtaking. I mean, it's pretty, that's great, but there's not really a great game inside here. Dice Tower Judgment, such pretty nothingness.